Hey guys, it's Nadia from LiaDiaDesigns and I'm back with another quick video. This time we're making little mini frame coasters. So I made these little frames using this mold that I found on Amazon. So I made those before, and then for this one here I added some details with this Deco Color gold pen. And the other one I just left as it was as I poured. I'm going to be adding rose petals and some abalone shells, and also I had a little bit of glitter. Actually, this is gold foil that I just kind of mixed in with some resin. So we're going to go ahead and pour. And again, these are my little mini sample coaster molds. So these are really small. We don't need a lot of resin. I think I only mixed up about 4 ounces for both of these coasters here. So we're only going to fill them about a quarter way or a third. We're not going to fill them too much because we need to fit everything else in here. So we're going to pour a thin layer on there first, and then we're going to just heat them with the heat gun so that we can get rid of all those bubbles on that bottom layer. And then once we finish that, we can go ahead and place in the little coasters. So I already had glued in the photos to the back of the coasters there, and so then we can just kind of place them in. So we're going to push them down so that they're nice and snug there, and then we will go ahead and we're going to take a little bit of the resin and we're actually going to pour it onto the photo section itself, just to get some resin in there so that we can get those bubbles out before we do the rest of the coaster. So I'm just going to put a tiny bit in there, and then we're going to use the heat gun again to get rid of those bubbles. All right, so just a little bit of heat just to take care of those bubbles in there. And then once we're done that, then we're going to go ahead and we're going to add our rose petals for the first one. And again, I mixed this in with a little bit of resin just to kind of coat the rose petals, so it helps minimize the bubbles once we have that. And I've gone ahead and I'm adding in some of the gold foil just because I want a little bit of that extra sparkle on this one. So I'm going to go into a time lapse, and then I'll be doing the shells as well, and we'll see you on the other side. Okay, so we're back, and I'm just going to go ahead and add a little bit more of that gold foil around the edges, just to add a little bit more sparkle. I did notice here that the rose petals tended to want to float up quite a bit, so I was trying to push them down. It wasn't completely working, but we'll see how it looks when it's done. So after we've done this part, we will again put a little bit of heat to get rid of any bubbles in this layer, and then we add our last layer, which is just going to be a clear just on top. And again, this is all being done at the same time. I'm not waiting in between. This is all in one pour. but I am just saying layers because what I did is I kind of layered it in and then I was heating in between. So this way we were making sure we're trying to get rid of the bubbles along the way. So yeah, we added that top layer and then we're going to heat it again. And then once that's done, we're going to let that sit overnight to dry or to harden. And then in the morning, we will check it out. So it's the next morning and we're going to go ahead and unmold these. And as we were discussing, the rose petals definitely did float in the resin. So they're kind of sitting at the surface here and it makes the top not that flat. So if I was going to do this again, I probably would just do this whole process, but only fill the coaster mold about halfway, let that cure, and then add another layer on top so that this way it would be flat on the surface. But otherwise, I think it turned out really nice. And then the abalone shell one is pretty perfect, actually. The abalone shells tend to want to sink to the bottom of resin. So this way they sat at the bottom of the mold and then it allowed us for that nice flat surface on top. And the shine on this is just amazing. I love it so much. So these turned out super cute. And the great thing about this idea is that you can really use anything in these molds. So if you wanted to use sprinkles or glitter or, you know, Lego, I don't know, there's like a million things you probably could do. And I think they just turned out awesome. So let me know what you guys think. What would you want to try with this? And then also don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks guys. See you next time. Bye.